Oh my gosh, you're covered in this pink, evil ooze. Oh, the slime was everywhere. But now, I'm gonna go get rid of this so I can be nice to my friends again. All I have to do is introduce the man himself. I want you to clap, scream, cheer, step up on your feet if you feel like it, pull out your proton packs. And I want you to welcome to the stage, Ernie Hudson!
Hey, guys. Hello.
Hey.
Yes. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm so excited to be here with you guys on this incredible cruise. I just sat on the deck and I looked at the water going by and I thought, this is kind of nice, you know. It's nice to take some time out and to be with people who you share, you know, the love of something. We all share the work of something. You're here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm here, so we got that in common. And so this is really kind of informal and
Yeah.
sorry, get a little late in the name.
Oh, it's my name Jess. I'm cruise director Jess.
Jess is here to fill in any, you know.
It's not quite
Whatever we're just gonna banter if we need to.
We're bantering.
We're bantering.
And but you guys look great. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to be here. And you know, that's I don't have any prepared
Well, I have a question.
yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions or whatever, feel free to and I'll lie as good as anyone. No, I will never lie to you. I'll definitely tell you the truth on whatever it is. So yeah.
I can get us started with one, and then everyone, if you have one prepared, are you all? We have our lovely microphone runners from the Toucan team here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good. This
So
is
they will
professional.
either be posted up in the aisles, and you can come to them, or they will come to you. But my first one, because I'm currently covered in
Yes.
this, and this is not even real slime.
Yeah, this is a homage to coming out of the sewer
Yes.
in the second movie.
And the second movie, it was
Yeah.
incredible.
In pajamas.
In the pajamas, you were wearing these amazing red pajamas, and I had to have them.
Well, there you go.
And they're very convenient.
That's an intriguing.
That's a thing.
Well,
So for you though, you were sincerely covered in the slime.
Yes.
How long did you have to endure that?
yeah, the slime. We kind of wore that stuff for a few days. I remember, but the slime. You know, we fell into the river of slime, which was shot at a different time. And then we had this scene where they found a manhole, which is about, I don't know, 3 feet deep. And they put me, Danny, and Harold in the manhole, and then they filled us up with slime, and put the top on. And then we were to pop out of the manhole and come up. The problem was the temperature dropped to 0 in New York, and the wind was blowing. And so when we came out of the manhole, that slime just froze. It was so beyond bad. And it was freezing, and I couldn't, you know, I've been treated badly, but I'm looking at Dan Aykroyd, and I'm thinking, say something, because, you know, it's, and we shot all night, and I kid you not, the next day we came to the set, and they said there was a hair in the camera, so we had to do the whole thing over again. So it was just one of the worst nights of my life.
And I made you relive it, and I'm so sorry now.
Yeah, you got it. So, you know, so it's in the can. And yeah, that's my sewer slime moment.
I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I will remove all slime from your vision.
Okay, there you
No
go.
flashbacks.
Yeah, right. I never want to see that again.
All right, well, I think unless there's anything else you wanted to say about that, we can open to questions.
Okay, yeah. And good.
Hello, Ernie. How are you?
Hi.
So my question is, how did the process go for the original Ghostbusters for you to be casted? And did you know already about Harold and everybody else?
Well, the first time I heard about Ghostbusters, I did a movie called Space Hunter with Peter Strauss and Molly Ringwald. And it's funny, the writer, producer, director was a guy named John LaFleur. And we flew up to, we flew to Vancouver to shoot the movie, and we worked for about a week and a half, and then Columbia fired John LaFleur, which I didn't realize you could fire the producer, writer, director, like, who was fired. And then they brought in Lamont Johnson to direct, and Ivan Reitman took over the project for Columbia, and Harold Ramis was one of the guys who rewrote the script. And I did that film, and that was, so we finished it. I was at Cedar Sinai Hospital. I got on an elevator, and Ivan Reitman just happened to be at the hospital. He got on for those who don't know, Ivan Reitman is the producer, director of the first couple of Ghostbusters, and he produced all the Ghostbusters. So he got on the elevator. I hadn't seen him since we finished the film. And you know, that kind of awkward moment where you're standing there and you're kind of going down. He said, hey Ernie, like, hi. He says, I'm doing this movie with Danny and Bill. And I didn't know who the hell Danny and Bill was, but I said, oh, good. He said, but there's nothing in it for you. And I said, okay, well, good luck with that. See ya, you know. And then I found out they were doing Ghostbusters, and there was a part, but my agent tried to get me for the audition, and they refused to see me because they thought I was totally wrong for the character. Because in Space Center, I played a guy named Washington, and he was sort of bigger than life. My head was shaved, he talked in a lower voice, and he was kind of drove this big tank of a machine, and that would not work well for Winston. So my agent kept trying, and they still refused. And by the time I finally got an audition, there was, you know, I feel this boat moving. I think I need to sit down here. I don't know what's happening. So I finally got the audition, and I went in, and Ivan was there, and Harold, and I killed it. You know, when you sometimes, for those of you who've done some acting, sometimes you have a moment when you just tap in, you know, and you know you're good, you know. And when I finished, I just wanted to throw the script down and say, you know, now you find somebody who can do that, you know. And I left knowing I had the part, and I got home and they said they liked me, but they wanted me to come back to screen test. And so I thought, okay, so I went back and I killed it again. They put it on screen, and then a couple days later said, that was really good, but would I come back again?
Hell no.
To audition? And I went back again, and then a couple weeks went by, and then he said, well, when he come back in, we want to see him do another screen test. And so now you got to realize, at this point, I'm a single dad, and I have two boys that I'm, you know, and we were excited when we got the script, but you know, I kept going in, so I went in again, and they said it was really good, but they wanted me to come back again. So I go in, and my energy is like, you know, my enthusiasm is waning here, but I go in, and I think I do a great job, and we wait, and we didn't hear, and so they said, well, they were waiting because there was an actor in New York. I'm going to blank on his name, but they wanted to see, he was on Broadway. They wanted to see him first. They weren't sure, so I waited. A couple weeks went by, I didn't hear anything, and so then I thought, because I was just needed to know, I called the casting director. The casting director is, you know, the one who cast the movie. And because I said, well, what's happening? But you can't just call and ask, because then it looks like you really want the part. So I called and I said, you know, I'm taking a vacation to Hawaii, and I didn't want to leave town, and you know, when the film happens and I'm not here. And she said, no, they were still thinking. And then finally, I got the call, I got the part. But at that point, I'm like, I can't even celebrate you. It's like, yeah. So, and then we go to negotiate, and they said, well, we have no money because we know Ernie wants the part. He's calling the casting director and asking about the role. So that was my introduction to Ghostbusters. But you know, it's one of those films that, and I've done been blessed with a lot of films that I'm so thankful to be a part of the franchise. But it started like down here, really difficult. And by the time we finished the last movie, Frozen Empire, I just really feel just a kindred to, you know, everything Ghostbusters has been a part of my life for, geez, over 40 years, over half my life I've been connected to Ghostbusters, and I'm very, very thankful, but I'm not even sure what the question was. But so I'm going to use this time as therapy, you know. So, but yeah, so that's how I got, and that's how I met Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, who I consider friends, you know. Even though the studio I had issues with, but I will say Billy and Danny, Harold Ramis, they just, you know, have been great friends, and they always sort of looked out for me. There are a lot of lines that when you make a movie, you're not sure what's going to connect with people. So I had lines like, we have the tools, we have the talent, or that's a big Twinkie. Someone asks if you're a god, you say yes, you know. And it was those guys who would say, Ernie's here, so, you know, they would throw lines my way. They were great lines that they could have, but they always made sure that I was included, so I'm very, very thankful for them. So anyway, that was a long-winded answer to, yeah, I think I can hear you, but...
So I love you in Congo, and I know you made amazing movies. What's been your favorite role that you've done?
Yeah, you know, I think actors, we're always looking for that role, you know, the role that will define your career, the role that shows people what you, when you were a kid, you knew you could do this role, but being an actor, you have to get the part. You know, you can act for years and they keep giving you roles, but it's not the roles that sort of allow you to show what you can do. So it's always trying to find that. And I haven't found that role. When I did a lot of stage the first 10 years of my career, and I did a show called The Great White Hope. And in that role, it sort of encompassed everything. I mean, you know, everything that I knew I had to bring on stage with me. So I haven't found that as an actor in film and TV. But there's been a variety of, so if I look at my career, I'd say I like the role in Ghostbusters, but I like the role in Congo because it was a little bit different. And I like the role in Hand Rocks the Cradle because it was kind of different. And I like the role in The Crow. And so you kind of, it's sort of a little bit of all of them. And I still haven't found that, like Jamie Foxx found in Ray. You know, when it's like, that's, so, and I guess I keep doing it because I keep looking for that chance to bring everything that I have to work. A lot of times people want you, when you get to be my age and you've been doing it as long as I have, they want you in the movie because they want to, you know, use your name, but they don't necessarily want you to, you know, you're not there for that. It's like, Ernie, we want you in a film and we'll pay you a lot of money, but we only need you for one day. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not doing anything in the movie, so I'm not really looking for the pay as much as I'm looking for that role. And so just between us, I'm still looking for the role, but I do like, I enjoy my work. And at my age, I still enjoy it, but it's hard to just, I did a show called Quantum Leap that we did a couple seasons, and I enjoyed it. I had a wonderful cast, but I was the director of the program, so, you know, I always had to be a little bit dumb, you know, just always confused. So, but it's finding, because I do think there's also responsibility to you that if you go to a movie, I want to tell the story, and I feel it should be told to the best of my ability. And sometimes people don't want. They just want you to, come in and deliver the information and get the hell out of the way so our star can be, featured or whatever. So, okay, another long-winded answer.
Over here.
Yeah.
Hi Ernie, I'm Jamie.
Hey, JP.
Two things. First, my absolute favorite line from Ghostbusters, one, was, I've seen some shit that'll turn you white. I was a little white and I didn't understand what that meant.
Right.
But it was still hilarious. Wanted to say that. And then I also had a question. What was it like working with Bruce Lee's son? The Crow is one of my absolute favorite movies, and you added so much to that movie that it wouldn't have been the same without you. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm a huge fan of Brandon Lee, and if you had any stories of working with him.
So you're talking about Brandon, not
Yeah,
Brandon was his family. Well, thank you. And The Crow is one of my favorite films as well.
You're amazing.
Thank you. I knew Brandon Lee probably about 6 years before we did the movie. He was a good friend of Miguel Ferrara. I don't know if you know Miguel. He was in NCIS, one of those. But his dad was Jose Ferrara. He was a wonderful actor. We did a series years ago called Broken Badges, and we're shooting in Vancouver. And Brandon came through Vancouver and spent a few days there, and I got to know him pretty well. And then when The Crow came up, he requested me for the movie. And he was just such a sweet guy, a really nice young man, very talented guy. And we had both, as an actor, he was looking for that role. And when he got The Crow, that was going to be his breakout role. He had just signed a 3-picture deal, and life was, he was engaged to be married. They had bought a home. It's just, and I remember the night before he passed, my wife, her brother had just passed away unexpectedly, and we had to go to Minnesota, but we had dinner with Brandon before we left. And we talked about the careers and how frustrating it could be, and how getting the role, how difficult, and people seeing you and giving you that chance. And he was very encouraging to me and telling me to hang in there and saying all the wonderful things that were happening in his life and encouraging me that it would happen to me as well. Just hang in there. And then the next day he was gone. And I read I was sent a script on some of the lines, and it was, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Yep. And it was so shocking. It still is shocking to me that an accident like that or something like that could happen on the set. It's meant to look very dangerous, but it's not. It's not supposed to be. And so Brandon's passing, it changed the industry. They instituted a lot of safety laws as a result of it, but still, he's not here, and I think he would have been a big star had he lived. They've done, of course, 3 or 4 other Crow movies. I haven't seen them. I felt that, he was Eric Draven, and I can't imagine anybody else playing that role. And they keep making movies with the same character. Like, just make another movie. How The Crow brings somebody else back? I don't understand but they asked me to be part of one, but it's Brandon was The Crow, but I'm glad because we had 8 days of shooting before the film ended. And I didn't want to go back and finish it, but I'm glad we did. I think he would have been very proud of the movie. I think it really shows his work, but it's just really, it breaks my heart, that it happened. Yeah. Sure, yeah. Thank you. Nice meeting you too.
Yeah, this one.
Hi, Ernie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
What's your name?
My name is Michael.
This is Michael, everybody.
question is, when you made internet headlines at the premiere of, I think it was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, because you wore a T-shirt and everyone's like, oh my God, Ernie Hudson still has incredible muscles. Was that like a weird situation for you, and where you're like, the internet's a weird place?
Yeah, but I was a little surprised because, you know, I just felt that nothing really had changed. I mean, I was telling a friend, I said, well, I'm surprised with all the attention with the T-shirt, and because nothing's changed. And he says, that's the point, nothing's changed. You know? So, but I was very flattered, and you know, but the problem is, if you get attention for your physicality, that stays the same, that doesn't change. But then when you get lazy and don't go to the gym, that changes, and so many people like, you know, so, but then it was a period where I only wore the black T-shirt. It was like, yeah. You know. So, but yeah, it was very flattering. And, yeah, they were talking about, you know, words like sexy suddenly started to happen after 50 years. But yeah, it's a weird business. It's a weird business, and but I'm very, very thankful. But I'm too old to get excited about stuff. You know, I mean, really, I was. Love you, Ernie. Well, love you too. Yeah, no, you know, actually, well, I'll take off my shirt.
Yeah!
Now, what you'll notice is the arms and the shoulders don't change. But a little while ago, I had a visitor come to visit me and refuse to leave. And at night, he is very, very loud. And his name is Mr. Jiggles. Mr. Jiggles, he lives here. And he is very demanding at night, you know, he just refuses to shut the hell up, and he wants to do everything. So when I go to the gym, I kind of fight Mr. Jiggles, and I feel like I won. And then when I'm on a cruise, sitting, eating, and doing nothing, I kind of, so this, as a teacher, Patrick Duffy, he works on my show, The Family Business. You know, Patrick, he did a show when I first came to LA. It was called A Man from Atlantis, and they wanted these bodybuilders to be these minions. So all these bodybuilders went in to audition, and I really needed this job. But these were huge guys, but they were like, you know, I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder. So I thought, I gotta get this job. So I went in, and I knew that with the shoulder, I could kind of do this. And the producer said, you look like you can't bend over. But he gave me the job, so Patrick is on my show, Family Business, and he was also on Dallas, I think. He was on Dallas. He's a wonderful man and a wonderful actor. Yeah, so, but it's funny how when you work out, you know, you get that pump, you know, you come with, nothing changes, but you feel like, you know, you just, and then when you don't, it's just really so good. Anyway, so that's, and I wasn't the sexiest man. John, what's his name,
Krasinski.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, really? But you know, when they choose John, I didn't feel bad. I'm like, that's what you think is the sexiest man. I get why I'm not. So anyway, no, he's anyway. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Hey, Dave. This is Dave, everybody.
Dave is here, not here. So one of the things that I always kind of find interesting is when a person like yourself gets to a point in your career where you assert yourself and you say, I don't want to say this part or act this part the way that it was written. I want to put my own input into expressing that character. can you give me a time when that would, if Crow would be great, but, otherwise, and you kind of just stepped up and said, I don't want to be this square character. Or this character, putting your foot down and saying, this character wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of that?
Well, a lot of actors, it kind of depends on where your training is. I started in theater. I went to Wayne State University in Detroit, and I went to Yale School of Drama, and then I went to the University of Minnesota. So I spent a lot of years preparing because I wanted to have a career, a long career. But I started in theater, and in theater, you follow the script and the director. So you don't, this guy took years to write this play, and you just don't change the words. To me, if a character says something, is my clue as to who he is. So he says that for a reason. We talk for what we do for a reason. But some actors who come from a different background, well, like the guys in Ghostbusters, we would do the scene, and then we just, okay, well, let's find funny. So somebody comes up with an idea, the words not that they didn't mean anything, but what's funny, or what else can we do? But I'm not, I don't come from that improvisational school. So unless it's really bad, because I'll try to make something work, but every once in a while, things are just stupid. You got kind of go, you know what, I don't think and you try to be diplomatic about it. It's like, I don't know if this guy would say that, but maybe I can think of 1,000 ways to do this. I want to be respectful. Some actors don't. They just do whatever, say whatever, and if he's a big enough star, they'll let you do that because they just want that actor. Bill Murray has different rules. You know what I mean? It's like you're just happy he's there. He's on the set. So, but I try to. Now, being African American, black, whatever designation you want to put in there, if a character is written to be that, they get stupid sometimes. Like in Congo, the first script I read, the guy was kind of from Chicago and he was kind of hip, and he had that slang. So what's up with the volcano? We're in Africa, and I'm like, in the books, based on the book. So in the book, the guy is South African. Well, not South African. He's African, but he's Indian, and so he had a British accent. And so I'm like, well, why can't we do that? And of course, they were kind enough to hear that and sort of work with that. But I remember when I started out, I was doing some movie, and I was angry at these guys. They ran into this building. I ran into this wall with my bald head and bust a hole in the wall. I'm like, I don't think I'd do that. So it's a door right there. Really, I kind of, you do the black guy thing, so it comes up a lot, but I'm then trying to think of, but at the end of the day, you have to do it, but I always have a hard time changing. I don't know if I answered the question, but some people are better at it, than
More aggressive about it.
You're more aggressive about it. I try to be diplomatic. I did the first big job I got, I was in Los Angeles, and there was a TV show called Highcliffe Manor. And like I said, I was a single dad, and the rent had to be paid. It was like, I got to make this happen. I don't want to get out of acting because I don't want to say to my kids, this is America, and you can follow your dream and do anything you want to do, and then turn around and say, I can't follow my dream. So it's important for me that I set an example. So I've been, doing a lot of, bits, and this TV series coming up. And I go into the audition, and I kill it. I mean, and finally I get the part, and they're paying me like $3,000 a week an episode, which was back back in 1980, whatever it was, that was huge. Maybe it was in the 70s. I don't know. Anyway, it was a lot of money for me. And we start rehearsal, and my friends throw a little party to celebrate my getting this role. And I don't know if you know this actor, Shirley Ralph. She's on Elva Elementary. She was at the party, and everybody's feeling good, and she's got the script, looking at the script, and she said, "Oh my God, I know you're not going to say this." And I said, "What?" And then, because I had been in denial, she said, "First off, the character's name is Bambo, which her sound like Sambo, and he has gold teeth, and he has an earring, and all of his lines, he said, 'No Sabuana,' and she pointed out all this stuff that I just want to get the job. You know what I mean? I'm going to make this stuff work." And then I thought, then I couldn't ignore it. So then we were rehearsing, and I couldn't. So I went to the producers and I said, "You know, I really appreciate this, but I can't do it. I mean, I know there's some actors out there who would just, do anything for this role, and I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't." And so I left. And a couple days went by, and they called me and they said, okay, we really want you for this thing. And so they changed the character from Bambo to Smythe. Oh, he was also a South African voodoo priest who had crossed the Atlantic in a canoe with the other guy on the show. So they said, well, he graduated from Oxford. How about that? What happened to graduate from Oxford? So you don't have to say Buana, but we like the gold teeth, but it's okay. You don't have to have the gold teeth. Maybe one earring, and then so. And I did it, and it was fun. And I learned from that sometimes you don't have to just make peace with it. Sometimes people do want to work with you. And there's been a number of incidences where I'm like, I can't do this. So sometimes you just have to, and sometimes you back up. I did a Dukes of Hazzard. And I went in, and like I said, I knew I got the part. By the time I got home, the phone was ringing, they cast me in the role. But the role I read for, which is a really good role with some really good lines, I didn't get that part. I got the bodyguard. So I was like, yeah, man. So, okay, it's Dukes of Hazzard. I got the bodyguard. The bodyguard doesn't have any lines. It's like, okay, but I need this job, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make the best of it. So that morning I'm driving to the set. It's kind of overcast and raining, and they were shooting in this place called the Canyon Country. So as I get up to the set, there's a huge Confederate flag just flying, like, I didn't know that was a state flag, Georgia, wherever it's supposed to be from, that has, it has a Confederate thing. So I go in and I park, I go to my dressing room, and I look at my costume is like this skimpy little t-shirt. It's not even a t-shirt, it's like a tank top. And that's it. And then he had a bottle of baby oil on the set for me to, and I'm like, oh, hell no. Nope, I'm gonna do it, sorry, it won't happen. So I called the wardrobe guy, and I'm like, man, I'm not wearing that shit. So he said, well, the director really kind of mind. I said, I don't care. I want to see the director. Take me to the director now. And now I'm like, I want to see him. So walk into where the director was, and I hear a guy telling me a black joke. There was these three guys, there was a black guy, and I look over, but it's a black guy telling the joke, so I couldn't really get too mad at him. But I'm just not feeling it. I'm thinking in my head, I go, well, he's going to say this, he's going to say no, hit him, and this guy went, this whole thing, and I'm, so I go and I see the director, and we talk about it. But there was something in me that said, just take a deep breath, and whatever happens, you deal with it. it's not that big a deal. And I saw the director, and we talked. I put on the tank top. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences I've ever had on a TV show. The guys ended up being friends, and it wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. So sometimes you have to kind of just open up to whatever that experience. Sometimes you do have to fight. Sometimes things are like, oh no, I'm not. And there have been those cases, but I think just trusting, my faith has always been the universe knows exactly where you need to be and what you need. And if you trust that, if you can just quiet, like when I was walking to see the director, if you could quiet yourself enough, you kind of know where you need to go. And I've always sort of trusted that. So that was a long monologue about something. And that's been my career. I have no idea. When I went to Hollywood, I didn't really know anybody. People saying if you're going to be successful as an actor, you have to have money. You have to know somebody. I didn't know anybody. I had 2 sons, my marriage had ended. But I think, and I don't want to get into God and all that, but I think the universe is where you trust. It's like people say, I want to do these things, or I want to lose weight or whatever. There's a part of you that really does know the answer. And if you can tap into that, if you can trust that, it'll guide you exactly where you need to go, I think. Good.
Hi, Ernie, I'm Johnny.
Hey, Johnny. This is Johnny, everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
And I can't believe I'm doing this because I'm going to embarrass myself in front of a crowded auditorium and one of my childhood heroes.
Thank you.
So, there's a story and a question. You got to remember I was 3 at the time, and it's only secondhand knowledge, but me and my Winston action figure went everywhere together. And when I say everywhere, I meant everywhere. So when I was in the sandbox, he was in the sandbox, I was eating dinner. And the biggest family joke in my family is one time I was in the bathroom when I was going pee, you were going pee. And I reached over to flush and knocked you in accidentally, and down you go. Inconsolable 3-year-old me screaming in the bathroom going, give it back, give it back. And so one of my first most vivid memories is my dad rolling a toilet around in the backyard trying to get it out. And then I did it again. So thank God my dad was absolutely insane. So all of that said, my question is, do you have a favorite Winston action figure?
They send me these, they'll do like, an example of what it'll look like, a drawing, and it never looks like me, like, this looks like Eddie Murphy or something. But, and I don't really, I have a lot of the Winston, my kids, because I think more kids, I've had the Winston action, we had the Space Hunter action figure, but the movie didn't do business, so, Congo, there were action figures with the Congo toys, Monroe Kelly. No, I don't have a, there was one where I think you do the jaw drop. Yeah, so, no, I don't, right. Hello?
My name's Kalana.
Talana?
Kalana.
Kalana.
Yes.
Kalana, everybody.
This isn't part of my question, but I need your workout routine because I'm trying to get fit. But part of a 2-parter. What is your favorite film, outside of acting?
Right.
Or it could be a TV show also. And what is your favorite fan interaction?
Oh, geez. My favorite film, I saw a movie when I was in high school at late night TV. It was called Black Orpheus. And it was just mesmerizing. And I think I've seen it maybe a couple times since, but it was, that sort of comes to mind. And of course, Wonderful Life. my wife and I watch every year. I've seen it probably, I don't normally watch movies more than once, but that one, of course, it's seasonal, so you kind of, The Wizard of Oz is really kind of, but I'm not a big TV watcher, even though some interesting movies out now. Landman, I think, is kind of interesting, you know. So the favorite film, Black Orpheus, what was the other?
What is your favorite fan interaction? Like when I was thinking of the question, I was thinking like when you first had your first major film or TV show, and someone came up to you. Like, what was that like? I don't know. I think when I was, I'm not sure about the first one. Because in doing theater, you kind of, so you sort of build into it. But I was in Chicago. Two incidences happened in Chicago. I remember walking down the street, and on the other side of the street, there was this guy. He was coming toward me, and you could tell he had been having a series of bad luck moments. You know what I mean? A person walks a certain way, you know what I mean? You can almost see the cloud over his head. It's like, it's not having a good day. He was really and I just kind of noticed him. And then as we got closer, he sort of looked up and he saw me, and he just kind of said, whoa. And he came over and he was so excited. I'm like, wow, man, oh God, it's so nice to meet you, man. You're my mother's favorite actor. And then the cloud disappeared, and he straightened up, and he just seemed, really happy, and I don't know. And then he left, and he walked down the street, and I thought, wow, that didn't cost any money, If that, if that happens, then that's sort of, that's a great thing. And I just remember that moment realizing something. There's been so many instances of that. Because I was in Chicago once, I was in a store, and I went down an aisle, and the guy saw me and said, whoa. I said, oh man, anybody ever tell you look just like that actor? What's his name? Yeah, that actor, Ernie Hudson. And you look just like that guy. And I started to say, he says, just a little too short. So, it kind of goes both ways. I did a series with, I can't think of the name, with Jim Belushi called Wild Poems. And it was a mini-series, and he wouldn't sign anybody's autograph. He was like, I'll say hello, I'll be back one. And I said, well, why won't you sign autographs, man? He says, nah, man. He says, they hate you. I said, they hate you? He said, yeah, they hate you. So give him 5 minutes. He said, first 5 minutes, oh, I just love you, you're so great, you're my favorite actor. After 5 minutes, but damn, you put a little weight on, didn't you? You're looking too good, man. What happened? I saw that movie. You really sucked in that movie. And suddenly the other side of the coin starts to happen. It's not always true, but it's happened a lot. So it's always that. But it's been some interesting. There was a story. I was in Indianapolis. And I went to a school to sign autographs, and we kind of ran out of time. And so it was one class that didn't quite get to me in time, and the kids had to leave, but this one kid was really insistent, so he just refused to go. And so I was like, just wait, what does he want? He wanted me to sign an autograph to his aunt, and it was like they had those little pictures out, and I signed it and gave it to him, and then that night, he went to his aunt had been in a car accident. She was in a coma, had been in a coma for 3 days or something. And so he wasn't allowed in the hospital because per unit, they didn't allow kids. But he snuck up the back way, and he went to her and says, hey, wake up. I got this autograph from Ernie Hudson. He's a Ghostbuster. And she came out of her coma. And so they reported it in the paper. And so sometimes things that has nothing to do with you, but I was up in the mountain community in San Bernardino Mountains
filling my car with gas, and a car drove by, and he did a U-turn and came back, and he told me that I had signed a photo for his son, who had been in trouble, had been arrested, was going through a lot of changes and drugs and all that. And I signed this autograph, and I said something about study hard and believe in yourself or something. I don't know. I'm not even sure what it was. But he put it on his mirror and said he just turned. Now he's in college and he's doing well. And so sometimes you don't realize that that you make an impression. I went to one school and signed autographs for kids, and the one kid went home with the autograph, and his mother took the picture from him and put it in the bedroom, and he couldn't have it anymore. So you never know. We're all different, and I think you become aware when you hear people's stories, and that's. I don't know if I answered that question, but sure.
Hi, Ernie, I'm Scott.
Hey, this is Scott, everyone.
So, with the popularity of the MCU, this question has been told to other actors, but have you taken any props from any of the sets you've worked on?
I used to. They used to, in the old days, when I first started in the 70s and 80s, they would pretty much, you're an actor, and they would give you pretty much anything you want. Then the studios realized that there was money involved, and so they don't want to give you anything. But with Ghostbusters, I've kept all of my jumpsuits. And the wardrobes in Congo, or I used to get, if I had like with Oz, I wore a lot of suits, so I would get my wardrobe because they would get new suits every year, and so I kind of. But now they don't do that anymore. I did a show with Anthony Anderson. I played his dad, and there was a coat. It was a boss coat that was a really nice coat. And he said, "Ernie, man, that coat looks great on you, man. You need to keep that coat, man. That's you." And the wardrobe guy was there, and he said, "Don't Ernie look good in that coat?" The guy said, "That's Ernie's coat. Ernie needs that. Ernie, that's your coat." And the wardrobe guy shook his head, yeah. And so when we finished shooting, I took the coat. And by the time I got home, it was a studio threatening to have me arrested if I didn't. And I stole their coat. I'm like, "No, Anthony, the wardrobe guy was there." So I thought it was, so I drove the coat back to the studio because, they take it all very, But again, it all depends on who you are. Had Anthony taken the coat home, I'm sure it wouldn't have been a problem. So this is an industry where, depending on how you're perceived, it's a whole different set of rules. So normally I don't take anything. And normally it's not anything I want from the stuff that I do. But I think Congo, I think I have the boots that, I don't know how I ended up with boots, but somehow maybe I wore them home or something, I don't know. But, I'm sorry?
The cigars?
The cigars, and I don't collect a lot of stuff either. I might have a lot of stuff that, you get from the different films over the years, but nothing that I normally. But the Ghostbuster jumpsuit, that was personal. Those are personal, so. And I had a fan, my wife would know his name, but one of the Ghostbuster guys, Lenny, what's the guy's name? Brian Fear. He's a costume, not a costume, he builds props. And he built me this amazing backpack that is better than the ones we had in the movie. And that was a surprise. And so I have a great backpack. I just can't travel with it. And, TSA get really weird. I was like, "What is this, sir?" I'm like, "Dude, have you ever seen Ghostbusters?" But it's nice. It's on my wall somewhere. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Roman. Chicago.
Roman from Chicago. Roman, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
know that Chicago is the new Hollywood place, so you can visit more often. Second, on the big films, do you do table reads so everybody's on the same page before you start acting on set?
Yeah, so, well, sometimes. It depends on money. You know, we used to take 6 months to shoot a movie. Now they'll try to do it. Then it went down to 6 weeks, and now they'll try to do it in 6 days. I mean, you know, everything is about money. Everything is about moving it fast. Technology helps a bit, but also it kind of depends on budget. I like to have with Ghostbusters, we rehearsed for 3-4 weeks. I mean, we sort of went through everything, and but they don't do. That's old Hollywood now. I at least like to meet the person who's going to play opposite me, but sometimes you meet just before you do the movie, and so yeah, it's if they have a little money, depending on the director, depending on it's nice to have time, even if you can't do anything else. I'm the executive producer on the show Family Business. And I insist that we all at least get together and have a meal so you can get a sense of who you're working with. But that's kind of rare these days. There was 2 parts. What was the other part?
That was the part, because you know, you come to the set and you have to do your lines and you don't know what the part is. So when you do table read, everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's easier for you to be a character.
Right, and if you're doing a show like we did Grace and Frankie with Lily and Jane, we would before we do the show, we have a read through, at least so we can hear the words, the lines. But that's sort of on a stage, and you know, it's not a sitcom, but it's kind of that format. And in a sitcom, you have the first couple of days you're just reading the play, and then you know it's done before an audience. But if it's not that, then it's kind of hard. Movies are a little more hard too. Yeah.
Hi, Ernie. I'm McCall.
Hi. McCall?
McCall, yeah.
Oh, McCall. Hi.
From Minnesota, too. Just kind of.
From Minnesota?
Yeah.
Great. I love Minnesota.
Yeah, me too. My question is, who was funnier, Bill or Dan? Or Harold, I guess.
Wow, who's funnier, Bill or Danny? I don't know. Bill Murray is just, I think he's a genius because I don't know. I think he's funny in a way that he doesn't even know just how funny he is. You know what I mean? He says stuff, he comes up with stuff that is just, he's like, I don't know, it just kind of, something comes out, I don't know. He makes me laugh, even when he's being serious. I know he was nominated for an Academy Award for a serious role, but he just looks funny to me. You know? Seriously, he just, and it's, you know, I don't know. That's yeah. But Danny works at funny. You know, Danny will be like, get the props line up, so when we get to this part, you know, it's like he arranged things so that he makes a funny moment. Whereas Bill just sort of comes in, and even Harold, who directed him in, I think Caddyshack, Caddyshack, yeah. He would say, you know, when Bill Murray came to work, they didn't put anything on the page because, you know, he'll come up with something that you can't write it down. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I guess it depends on the kind of, you know, what you think is funny, you know. Yeah. So.
Hi, I'm Lita.
Lita? Hi, this is Lita.
I was going to say, you have such a gravitas and presence with your voice. It seems like a perfect match for Shakespeare, and I know you've done lots of theater. I was wondering if you've ever done Othello, or if you do a lot of theater still?
Yeah, you know, I don't do as much theater now because, you know, theater's a big commitment. I love theater, but it doesn't pay. Mm-hmm. And not that money is the most important. I would do it for the role, if it was a great role, like Othello. But I can do a small part of the movie and it doesn't take much time, but with theater you got weeks of rehearsal, then you got the performance, and then you can't quit because you get something else comes along. So it's just a lot more difficult to, but I'm always looking for a role, and yeah, it's just a matter of, and then of course as an actor you have to be invited to play. It's like a musician where if you go play at the coffee shop, or you can always sing, but with acting, you show up at the coffee shop doing monologues, people will tell you, please shut up. So it's a little bit different, but I'm always looking for, and I would love to, but, unless you're producing, and a lot of people, if you are an actor or whatever, it helps to be multitask, so you can write, or, create your own projects, but, people say you have a great voice, and I'm like, yeah, but does that mean as a job? I mean, you always sort of think of the, I suppose the money side of it. I've done quite a bit of voiceover stuff, but not product placement and such, so. Waiting for Morgan Freeman to get tired.
Exactly.
Sit down. God. How long? But but thank you. So, sorry, yeah.
Hi, Ernie, Jesse here.
Hey, there's Jesse.
Thank you for all that you've created for us.
Thank you for the t-shirt.
Absolutely. So for Ghostbusters, what do you think is that magic ingredient or X factor that's allowed it to have such a huge fan base and longevity and spawn two really good movies in the modern era? What is that magic ingredient, do you think?
Well, I don't know, but I know there's some movies. I mean, because we got the Star Wars movies and the Star Treks, and they're movies that have been around. But I think there's something in Ghostbusters that, first off, our earliest memories is that fear we have of who's in the closet when the lights are out. You know what I mean? We know we live these lives and we're full of life. And I see pictures of my relatives when they were in their 20s and 30s, and now, of course, they're long gone. But, we're so, and then we know that at some point, we gotta go somewhere, but we don't quite know where. So it's always that mystery that just sort of, it's almost like this thing called life, and so that's always, we don't quite know how to deal with it. You can't really laugh at it, you can't really cry over it, you can't really worry about it, but it's always, I'll be 80 years old this year. So when I start planning, but when I start planning something like, I'll do this for about 10 years, and then you kind of go, oh my God, 10 years? I'm old. So I think it's that fear of what happens next. And I think Ghostbusters is one of the movies that kind of, we laughed at it. You saw them sort of deal with what's on the other side. And so we were able to kind of be a little bit afraid, a little bit laughter. And also I think it crosses generations. I was at a convention and it was this family, the mother, her son, his family, and they had a little 10-month-old baby. And the baby had a perfect little Ghostbuster jumpsuit on with a little name tag. And I thought, wow, I said, where'd you find this jumpsuit? It's like, what store? And the grandmother said, I made it for him when he was a baby, and now his baby's wearing it. So it gives old people something to share with their grandkids, and the kids like it, and their parents, it's first movie, a lot of people say it's the first movie they ever saw in the theater, and now they're in their 40s, and so, or 50s even. So it just, I think that's one of the nice things about the movie, and it's also wasn't driven by the studio. Star Wars and Star Trek, those are really the studios behind it. But I think Ghostbusters stayed in play because the fans really picked it. I don't think the studios did a very good job the first 10, 15 years. They just so fans started making their own props. And now, you know, they're getting in and trying to make backpacks they can sell to you. But for years, it was just people, you know, looking at the movie and coming up with their own stuff, and that's amazing. I'm totally impressed with just how endearing it has been to people. And I'm so thankful because I believe the studio did not want Winston to be a part of the four. It's kind of like we want you there, but we don't want you there. And they wanted to make sure that it was the three guys, and I think it was the fans who basically said no, but Winston is a part of it, and identified with the character. So, but I think that, to me, that's what, you know, what has kept it in play and still, still being, and when I say I was in Argentina, and there were Ghostbusters from 6 different countries showed up, you know, in their jumpsuits, and so it's been very, very special. Good. Well.
Thank you so much. Those stories, I'm going to cherish them. I got teary-eyed listening to the kindness to spill out, and just, you know, kindness reflects itself when the universe takes care of you. I needed to hear that. Who else needed to hear that?
Well, you know, I'll just say, you know, I was born, when I was born, it was me and my mom. There was nobody else there. The family had gone downtown, and when they came home, I was already sort of there. My mother was dying of tuberculosis. She died 3 months after I was born. I only say that to say I've been so blessed. And every time I come to a space like this, because you never know who's going to show up. I mean, I could come in and be like nobody's sitting out there, but you guys are here, and it means so much to me. I don't take it for granted. I really, really do appreciate you and just I feel the love, and I thank you for that. It's, you know, that you don't have to do that, but you do, and it means the world to me. So thank you all for coming.
Love you, Ernie.
We thank you, and I need one more huge thunderous round of applause for Ernie Hudson.